Sherry Hofshire,
Here.
Brian Botsford,
Brian is sick, so he may or may not come in and out on this meeting.
okay, Zachary Cheek,
Here.
Brenda Davis,
Here.
Crystal Dunning,
Here.
Jana Goranson,
Here.
John Gross,
Here.
Karen Harris,
Here.
Julie Jacobson, Tim Jeffrey, Clark Coulterman,
Here.
Clark Roush, here, Clark Roush, yeah. Jeannie Salerno,
Here.
Lori Williams,
Here.
James Wright.
Here.
All right, we are good to go.
Just came in.
Okay. Tim, are you here?
Well, he'll come on and say, for those folks in the room, when you talk, this is the microphone, so talk to the owl.
Yeah, Tim Jeffrey just came in, so put him in. Okay, we need approval of the agenda of what we're going to do today. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move.
Thank you, Jean. And is there a second? Would you please say your name since we're jumping around here and I can't see everybody's photo. Is there a second?
James Wright, second.
Thank you, James. Okay. Roll call, please, Margaret. I mean, for the vote approval. Is she doing it or me doing it?
Margaret is.
Okay.
Sherry Hofshire,
Yes.
Zachary Cheek, Zachary Cheek,
Oh, I just got an,
Did we lose it?
do we lose somebody?
somehow disconnected. I just got a text from him. Somehow disconnected. 1 second.
Okay,
So pass him over and go.
Brenda Davis,
Yes.
Crystal Dunning,
Yes.
Jana Goranson,
Yes.
John Gross,
Yes.
Your back time? Your back time? Yeah.
Karen Harris,
Yes.
Tim Jeffries,
I know he's here, but Tim, you must be muted.
There we go. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
yes.
Yes.
Clark Coulterman,
Yes.
Clark Roush,
He's not in yet.
okay, Lori Williams,
Yes.
okay, and then we're good.
Okay. We're going to start with, we're going to jump, and we don't have the cultural endowment. Maggie couldn't be here, but we'll go to Lance.
well, I did want to provide some information, so
Okay.
if you fast forward the slide, Stan. At the last cultural endowment meeting, they voted to make distributions, and I thought that it might be of interest to everybody to see what that means. As you all know, they are the private side of the public-private partnership. And so they have $21.3 million sitting in an endowment, and Julie Jacobson is coming in. And once a year, they get together as a board and vote on what the distribution percentage will be based upon the needs of the two agencies, us and Humanities Nebraska, as well as the prevailing economics and other issues having to do with budgets, that sort of thing. At the last meeting, they voted to make a distribution percentage of 4%. And what you have there is, I thought many of you probably have no idea, all the different ways in which we receive funds from the cultural endowment. First line you see there is the earnings on the endowment itself, 4%, $190,000, which is up $4,000 from last year. And then we receive funds, some designated funds, in honor of Chip Woods, which we use for the State Arts Awards. Woody Varner as well. The Holland Fund Foundation is designated, but it's unrestricted, so we use that in any way that we need to as an agency. The folks from the Pilster Foundation have designated their funds go straight from us to the Nebraska Public Media. We receive a fund, it's anonymous, for school bus grants, and so there's $2,400 that we receive this next year for that. The Suzanne Wise Education Fund still is receiving funds and earning interest, and so we'll receive $1,300 for that. And finally, the William Patrick Foundation, we've been receiving that for a number of years, and those are earmarked for arts accessibility grants. So you can see there that we haven't received it yet, but we've been told we'll get in the neighborhood of $250,000 this year from the Cultural Endowment. So that's kind of a nice relationship we have. That's it.
Okay, so then we'll go to Lance Nielsen for Nebraskans for the Arts. Wonderful Arts and Culture Day, Lance.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. We'll give you a quick little update of what's going on with advocacy. We can go to that next slide. First of all, just some things going on at the federal level. There was some good news back in January when they finally approved the FY26 budget. The appropriations for NEA and NEH came in at level funding, $207 million, same as what the Biden budget was. Considering all the craziness we went through last spring and summer with the Doge cuts and everything, that was a huge win if we can come back to level funding. I did put a link here, and I don't know if you could just, you don't need to go to that, but that's a listing of all the appropriations and how they played out, and pretty much everything was level funding. Right now, we are actually focusing on fiscal year 27. And so I'm actually, I spent yesterday submitting appropriations on behalf of Nebraska for NEA and NEH and museum and library services, all the arts education. It's really kind of funny how the current administration has really focused on efficiency and cutting down the bureaucracy. The appropriations process has basically tripled the amount of work because everything is separate requests now, where we used to do one request for NEA and NEH together. Arts education was one request. Now it's split it into 5. So it's taken a little bit of extra time, but I've also engaged some of our board members to assist with that. So they're going to our congressmen will hear from not just me, but from some people that are actually benefiting from these funds. So we hope that will help in this process. So we're jumping on it a little bit early, but we wanted to get those in. And we are asking for more money than the $207 million. So we're asking for an increase in each of those areas. So. And the John F. Kennedy Center, we're just kind of monitoring what's going on with that. So obviously a longstanding cultural place that we want to make sure remains such. So we'll keep our eye on that. The next page, if you would go to that, is what's really impacting us right now and what's really taken up a lot of our focus. Obviously, the budget ramifications with 71 and 72, not only impacting some of the things that I know Mike will probably dive into this a little bit more later with the 1% for art and some impacts for the Arts Council, but obviously one of the big ones is the Culture Endowment sweep. And as you probably all have heard over and over, the original proposal by the governor was to sweep the $15 million out of the endowment. We are now currently at, the appropriations has approved just a $5 million sweep, but that does not include that $600,000 appropriations that they were going to do each year. So this would be just a flat $5 million sweep out of the state fund. So that's what we're really focusing in on right now. We'll know a lot of what the appropriation is going to put forth on their budget next Monday. We will see the full package and we'll see how the ramifications will be on this. There's a small group of us that are going to be there on Monday at the state capitol. We're going to start working with all of the senators and I'm already working on it. We're going to have another major action alert that will go out to all of our advocates. We're going to be at the point now where we're going to be contacting the senators, not just calling, not just emailing, but maybe showing up at the Capitol as well. So we're gonna really go after this. We'll see where we end up with it. It would take a little bit. It would take a lot now, I think, at this point to maybe if it's actually in the budget when we see it on Monday, it'll be really pretty hard to get that $5 million out of that budget, but it's not out of possibility. So if we get enough senators that would support an amendment to pull that $5 million, not touch the $5 million, I should say it that way, that would be great. A little bit of a win though, 778, and again, Mike might talk a little bit more about this impact for our creative districts is moving right along, which is great. So I think that's gonna pass with no problem. And also a little bit in the education world, we've been advocating with the Nebraska Department of Education in changing Rule 24, which currently teachers, if they want to teach theater or speech, it's not a field endorsement. It's a subject endorsement, or it's an added endorsement to another subject area. So they might get language arts endorsement, and then they would add speech or theater onto that. What we've been working on is to make theater and speech an actual field endorsement, which would be huge. That will keep teachers in our state. That will also hopefully expand theater education in our schools, which is what our goal is. The Department of Ed has been very supportive of that in the last couple meetings, and so I think we're really at a point where we'll be moving to the governor just to approve. So we're hoping for that. We can go to the next couple. These are real quick. Again, yeah, Arts and Culture Day. Thanks. I know some of you were there. We appreciate your support. We had a little over 100 people attend, and it was great timing because that's right when we were spending a lot of time talking about this culture endowment. We really tried to create a sense of energy about art and culture in the Capitol. With art galleries and music performances, and Jewel was there doing poetry. It was fantastic. We also did an America 250 kickoff in the Warner Chamber. So you see some pictures there. You can flip to the next one. There's some other pictures of. I thought we've had better engagement with our state senators this year as well, which is great. So we want to continue that into the future. And then the last slide, just thinking about the future, we've already mapped it out for next year. You can put it on your calendar already. We'll have Monday, February 1st. It will be our reception. We are actually going to be, for the first time, on the legislative social calendar. So that Monday evening, we will have a reception. And so hopefully that will bring even more engagement with our senators that evening. We tried something this year of doing some little breakout connections in that Monday afternoon, especially for people driving in from across the state. We'll maybe continue to do that. And then Tuesday, February 2nd, will be our time at the Capitol. With everything that's going on, I kind of joked with Mike and Maggie and everything. Unfortunately, this is when you have issues like this that have been kind of popping up, like with Culture Endowment and the 1% for art, it tends to engage people a little bit more. So we've seen a little bit more engagement with Nebraskans for the Arts. So I've joked with them going, keep the drama going because we're getting more members, but I'm kind of not ready to have drama. So I'm be fine if we can get back to normal too. But because of that, we now have representatives in every legislative state district, all 49 of them, in our advocacy network, which is great. That's what we've been really working on for the last couple of years, and we've achieved that goal. I have told the Nebraskans for the Arts Board that our challenge is, when we get past all of this, our challenge is to try to keep these advocates engaged, because it's when things are going well that we still need to be actively involved in communicating and sharing our story of the huge impact that the arts and culture have on Nebraskans. And then the last thing, I think a lot of you are maybe aware, we do have a sister organization, Nebraska Arts Action Fund, and I think we're going to be a little bit more engaged this year, especially since it's an election year, and doing surveys and getting to know the candidates. We're never going to be in a position where we want to endorse, but we do want to be able to educate people on candidates that are very supportive of the arts. So we'll be doing a lot in that area. So I'll take any questions if there are any.
Lance, you might also talk about what you'll be doing once the primaries have happened this spring.
Yes, once the primaries are done and we know who's actually running for each of the different seats, we will do a survey. We will survey all of the candidates, and we ask some general questions. And we'll reach out to not only the Culture Endowment and Humanities, but Arts Council as well, just some key questions. We try not to set those up as got you questions, but I did go back and look in 2024. We asked certain questions like, are you aware of the Arts Council and what they do? Would you continue to support appropriations to support the Arts Council? We even asked, are you aware of the Culture Endowment? And it was amazing how many of them, it was a Likert scale, how many of them said, I've heard of it, but I need more information. It's amazing how many people mark that down. So that tells us that we need to be out there really telling our story and educating about what we do consistently all the time. So we'll do that. I think it's a great opportunity for us to connect. And we may do some, as we find out if candidates are having little learn and talks or stuff, we'll maybe try to be present and be out there getting to know them as well.
Thank you, Lance. That's exactly where I was headed. Is that there'll be 17 new senators this coming fall, and this summer is the time to be talking to them before they become senators. So now's the time they're listening. So for our council, if you have anything going on in your district with new or returning senators, it's certainly a good opportunity to touch base with them. And if I or Lance or Maggie or Sherry or anybody else can come along with you to talk to them, we'd love to take advantage of that opportunity.
That's one of the challenges we're facing right now with the term limits is there's a constant turnover, so they're not going to be aware of the Culture Endowment and all the great things that the Arts Council does to support the community. So that's why we got to be out there telling your story all the time.
Well, thank you, Lance. You certainly have done a monumental job in the last couple of years with this organization, and it's greatly appreciated and noticed. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is Jewel on?
Yeah, and as Lance mentioned, one of the stars of the Arts and Culture Day this year was Jewel Rogers, our state poet. Jewel sent me a report on her first year as the state poet, and I thought, you all should be able to get a chance to meet her and listen to her because she's not only an outstanding poet, but she's a great representative of the state and of economic development through the arts. So I thought it would be great if she would join us this morning and give us a little report on what she's doing and what she's up to. Jewel, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for coming in.
Hi, I am happy to be here. I have not done this before, so having seen a few reports now, I will adjust this format accordingly. But hello, I've been taking a slightly longer version of this presentation around town and elsewhere within Nebraska, sort of sharing this same information. So I suppose I'll kind of stick with the script a bit. You can go to the next slide. Generally speaking, I always show up and I tell folks, hey, I'm not your poet laureate. I know you thought that's what this was. That's not what this is. I go through the history a little bit and talk about the difference between the poet laureate and the state poet. You can go to the next slide. And so that people not only understand who our poet laureate is, but then also who our state poets have been over time. And you can go to the next slide. Of course, I'm keeping this very brief. Of course, I give more context with the big song and dance on the general, usual 1 hour talk that I do. Anyhow, I share a little bit of information about myself and then reiterate what it is that I'm supposed to be doing as state poet, which you can go to the next slide, is to advocate for poetry, literature, and literacy. I then also oftentimes will highlight that I'm trying to create as many new supporters of poetry as possible, and that's how a lot of my work shows up. So sometimes, and a lot of times, really, it ends up happening sort of in events or, in conversation, or the pop-up programming that I do that might mix disciplines or genres, whether we're working with, maybe an artist like a painter or a sculptor or a videographer or a musician, finding new ways to incorporate poetry so that people who aren't poetry people have yet another opportunity to become poetry people. You can go to the next slide. Something else that I'm also finding when I go around is a lot of times people don't know about the role of state poet. I'm sorry for all the words on this slide. Usually when I do it in a longer format, I get to make the funny joke of how, in school they say don't put a bunch of words on the slide, but now I can do what I want on my slides. So I put little words on, I make a joke of it, but then I call out little information on the slide. At any rate, I talk about this because there was this time where it was mentioned that the way that the next person to hold a position to be announced would have cheapened the role by the publicity, and now that's sort of the main thing that I'm trying to do, is to increase publicity to approach accessibility so that more folks know what state poet is, and then also that they know that it is available to them, and it's not simply sort of this thing that exists for folks in Lincoln and Omaha, but for all across the state. I make sure every time I go anywhere that I let people know that anyone can nominate anyone to become state poet, and I work through the process a bit on how that works, because a lot of the times folks don't really either know what a state poet is, or they assume that the opportunity is not open to them. You can go to the next slide. So then I talk a little bit about little things that I'm trying to do. One of the things is to grow social media presence. This has grown to another 100 followers since I sent this to you a week or two ago or whatever it was. But the thing about that is I can only be where I can be with my body. So geographically, I can only meet so many people. So the more online presence I'm able to grow, the better that I can reach other people across the state and across the country in terms of understanding the role of state poet and just the culture of poetry in Nebraska in many different, genres and facets and the ways that it shows up for different communities. You can go to the next slide. So then I talk a little bit more about, what my state poet project is and what some of the major things I've been working on are. For those who don't know, my state poet project is technically 3 parts. The first part is 5 showcases across our 3 congressional districts, and that is to find a way to elevate and highlight Nebraska voices from all over. So it's not really like showcasing Joel Rogers, it's showcasing Nebraska voices. And something that's really been able to help prepare for that is having received the Academy of American Poets Laureate Fellowship, which is making possible a salon series called Homegrown. And Homegrown is a series of intimate art gatherings across the state of Nebraska where we share our work with one another. So we've been to McCook, we've been to Hastings, we've been to Kearney, we've been to Norfolk. We're planning to go many other places. For example, like Nebraska City, Scottsbluff. We've been to Alliance and Mitchell. So we just really been all over. But that is some of the background work that's happening now so that we can actually successfully execute on the showcases across our 3 congressional districts in the future. And outside of sort of the Omaha area. The other showcases will likely happen in the 3 to 5 year portion of this 5 year term, just to really give enough time for the community building portion to happen, to do what's required to not only find Nebraska voices, but then also to build a bit of trust and so that we can get folks out. The second portion of my State Poet Project is taking Nebraska-based writers outside of the state 4 times and outside of the country twice. I've been doing a lot of private fundraising on my own. So this has been happening. Our first excursion was in 2025, and we went to New York to the New York Poetry Festival. We had a poet from Omaha, and we had a poet from Gordon, Nebraska. This year, we will go to Rotterdam for the International Poetry Festival. We'll have a poet from Broken Bow, Nebraska. We'll have a poet from Hastings. I'm trying to figure out how I can expand that opportunity to a few other poets who I may only be able to provide a portion of travel expenses, but it's such a significant trip that it feels like it should be made accessible to a few more. We're also going to DC for a centennial celebration of Langston Hughes' The Weary Blues. And that's sort of like a plus one. I don't even consider that the core for international trips, but I'm recognizing that it's becoming a bit more accessible, or not accessible, but it's happening and it's happening well. So I think I'm adding some things. And so one of those sort of offshoots is a DC trip. And then the third portion of the State Poet Project is pop-up programming. Like I said earlier, fun little things that might do the work of bringing in folks who aren't into poetry, whether that be a dinner party, whether that be a conversation with the mayor like we did in February, whether that be a music event, whatever it becomes, generally is centered around mixing genres or mixing disciplines in some way to increase the likelihood of support for poetry in general. Aside from that, I do a lot of general appearances now, with the sort of announcement that, oh, we have a state poet, and everyone's kind of, the buzz is still happening. So I do a lot of general appearances. I don't know how many of you know this, but I used to work at Noddle Companies as a financial analyst. And in June, I stepped down from that position to take this on full time to be able to do all these wonderful things. And so I've been also just kind of working on surviving as a working artist. But something that I've recognized is that, especially if someone does not necessarily have like a flexible job that would allow them to both do this level of work and work the job, they may not be able to continue on sort of this level of community engagement or work. So I've been loosely kicking around ideas as I go out about how we could support the state poet role financially as like a smaller base salary that covers a lot, so that so much time isn't necessarily spent surviving as a working artist. One of the things that came up as an endowment, I looked at some other, states and areas that support their poet laureates, or I think we're not with the state poet, so their poet laureates with funds, and it seems like something like $20,000 or $30,000 a year would be reasonable to provide the padding so that people can get creative and interesting with what they're able to do with the role. But that's something that I've sort of been just thinking about, and I don't really foresee any formalized effort on that until maybe 2027. So I think we can go to the next slide. So the State Poet Project that I just told you about roughly is going to cost around $150,000. We've gotten 50,000, a little over 50,000 now so far. The homegrown events are made possible through the Academy of American Poets Fellowship. And then the rest of this is just what I stated already. You can go to the next slide. Here's just some cute pictures of me doing things in our communities across the state. How adorable. I know, lovely. Okay, you can go to the next slide. We're just about done here. So in 2025, aside from all the projects and what have you, we completed around 75 appearances. So I was sort of spreading the good word in front of roughly, 7,000 to 8,000 people. We've got our national excursion planned and funded. We completed 3 homegrown events in 25. We just completed Norfolk here recently and have a few more planned out for the rest of the year. We had one official pop-up program, which was a dinner party that included Zadika Poindexter, who runs Nebraska Writers Collective, that included Matt Mason, our previous state poet, and then a couple of the poets that accompanied me to the excursions. Of course, then there's also collaborations that I do with others, but I don't claim those as my pop-up programs unless I'm doing the majority of the legwork to make it happen. The social media growth is far beyond that now. I completed a collection and I put that out, and now I just have it on my website, and I've been traveling all around Nebraska, a lot of different places. Then the rest of this PowerPoint is sort of just like the general spiel of here's how you can follow what I'm doing. So you can go to the next slide if you'd like. That's some of my information. In general, in 2026, which is now, I'm focusing a lot on creative projects, identifying, strategies for financial stability, and just continuing to grow the individual brand around this role in the interactions that I'm having with folks, with other poets as I take Nebraska poets and go elsewhere, just trying to increase that awareness and opportunity for collaboration. And then in 2025, really start to focus in on publications on, that reminds me. We also are doing an anthology or a series of anthologies as a way to catalog our excursions. So for example, we went to New York, and then we opened up a call, and we said, hey, anybody who has poems that are loosely related to New York or touch on New York in some way, please submit. So we got about 30 poems back, and they'll be in a collection alongside photos from New York. And the collection itself is called Calling Home from New York. After we get from Rotterdam, we'll have Calling Home from Rotterdam, and we'll open it up again to Nebraska writers. And again, the whole point of what I'm doing and what I'm always doing is trying to elevate the voices of Nebraska writers. So that's one of the ways that I'm doing that. The next 2 slides you can maybe just sort of skip through. That's what I just said to you just now. And then the next slide sort of just continues to reiterate again what I said to you about identifying stability and growing collaboration across our great state and nation. That is
Well,
all from me.
Jewel, you didn't mention it, and I should have. One of the things that Jewel did for us for Arts and Culture Day was we commissioned her to write a poem specific for the America 250 celebration, and she presented it at that event. And as I understand it, a few folks have been talking to you about it, doing it again and again and again, and you can see the video of it on our website. But I'm guessing that you'll probably get a chance to hear it some form or another between now and July 4th, if not at our dedication ceremony. So, and then finally, the other exciting news is that there will be a time capsule as part of the America 250 for the Nebraska Semi-Quincentennial Commission. And they are considering Jewel's poem to be one of the items, actually the only item that goes into the time capsule. So that'd be quite an honor.
Wow. Okay.
Because it's a nice poem.
Yeah, it is. And if anybody has a chance to see Jules, she's amazing to watch in her poetry performances. Thank you so much, Jewel, for coming. We appreciate your information, and I'm not sure how you get it all done, but congratulations.
She doesn't sleep.
I have a lot of help from you all, from Humanities, from Nebraska Arts Council, from Nebraska Writers Collective. For a second, I had Intern Nebraska on my side. I have a lot of friends, a lot of help to make some of these things happen. So I'll just go ahead and say thank you from all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a good
Okay,
one.
the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the December 12th meeting, and that should say 2025, not 2023. Is there anybody who has any additions or corrections to the minutes that they want to bring forward? Okay, then can I have a motion for approval of the minutes for December 2025?
Zach, I'll move.
Karen, second.
Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Karen,
Karen.
Aaron Harris.
Karen Harris.
Offshire,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Dunning,
Yes.
Goranson,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Jacobson, Jeffrey,
Yes.
Coulterman,
Yes.
Roush,
Yes.
Salerno,
yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Financial Committee report. Jana, I turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you, Sherry. We met a week ago and the NAC DC board and the financial committee, and I believe that Margaret is going to go ahead with our report or her report.
Yes, thank you all here. So we'll start off with the allotment status here, and I'm just going to do a brief overview since this does come with the recommendations of the Finance Committee. This report is as of January 31st, 2026. And for those following in the packet, this is page 5. So we'll bring our attention to our year-to-date expenditures, which in our 326, which is going to be our administrative funds, those total $6,803.67. In our 327 fund, which is going to be our grants fund, those are totaling $1,533,734.85. And then in our 329, which is our arts and humanities, those are totaling $1,081,173.12. Which if you go to the next slide, those are reconciling with our current internal numbers here. Nothing really of note. Things are pretty much where we are going, where we had thought they are going to be. The only thing is in our CPEF area, we have come to that appropriation. So we will do a partial disbursement, but wait on a full disbursement until the coming July. Any questions for me?
Yeah, let me just jump in real quickly. Two things. One is that, and this has only happened to us once before. As you see there, we're only have an appropriation of $1.4 million in CPEF. We have had so many drawdowns this year that we have gone over that, and it takes legislative action to increase our appropriation, which is probably not going to happen this spring. So the important thing is that we transfer the funds from the trust to our CPEF, our cash fund, but we'll make that distribution this summer once we get the new appropriation for the new year. The other thing is that we started adding the cash funds down here at the bottom for your information. That information will come up important a little bit later on when we talk about the 327 cash fund, which you see there at the $408,000. So that's just for your information. It'll come in handy later on as we talk about some of the things that we have going on.
Correct.
Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah.
All right, any questions? Okay, then we need to vote on the financial report. Do I have a motion?
So moved, John.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Clark, second.
Which Clark?
Clark Roush, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, Margaret, vote
Hofsch-
please.
Sure. Hofshire,
Yes. Yes.
Cheek,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Dunning,
Yes.
Goranson,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Jacobson.
She obviously isn't here, so just,
Okay.
yeah, don't call her.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Holterman,
Yes.
Salerno,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Wright.
Yes.
All right.
She's here, just incommunicado.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, apparently, Julie is here. Okay, then now the, CPF projection.
All right, if we go to the next slide here. This is going to be our current drawdowns for the fiscal year. And as Mike was saying, we did have a good year as far as our drawdowns. And then as of January 31st, 2026, we are sitting at that 15.5 million here. And so that current drawdown of that 471, 456 is going to, we may do a partial disbursement, but the majority of that will wait until that July. And of course, this is all pending the news that we have currently. We will update you with further information.
This is for informational purposes, as is the next slide. About this time every year, we let you know where we're standing with the CPAP fund so that we can talk about what we'll be doing in the coming year. And as you see here, we show you FY 24, the current year in the middle, and based upon where we are, what we can project being able to do next year. There are two things I need to point out about this, though, is that this projection was done prior to that information that Margaret just gave you. That $471,000 drawdown just happened since this packet went to press. So that means that there's another 471,000 available to us for next year. The other thing that I want to point out, though, is that, as you all know, the status of the CPAF fund is unknown for the next year. We may have all 15 million, we may only have 10 million, we may have no million, depending upon what the governor and the legislature does between now and the end of the session. So for that reason, I'm suggesting that we continue along the conservative path that you see here until we know the status of the fund for next year. And so what this is showing is that in the coming year, we would continue with the same level funding that we have for the basic support grants, as well as our contractual partnership, which is our friends from the Nebraskans for the Arts, but that we increased by $10,000 our commitment to grants for our statewide education programs, as well as an additional $5,000 for our advocacy programming, like the assembly and the state arts awards that we do that promotes the value of the arts in the state. So that it is a little rise over the current year, but like I said, until we know the long-term status of the fund, that this is what I think we're comfortable projecting for next year. Again, this doesn't require a vote. You'll get to vote on this when we present the grant reports, the grant awards at the June meeting. But this just to give you a sense as to where CPAF is and what the possibilities are for the next year. So if anybody has any questions or comments, I'd be more than happy to answer anything that you have.
Yeah, Mike, this is Tim. I just had a question on that. So the and I probably should read language, but the underlying agreement with that public-private partnership on the endowment, is that expecting the full 15, 16 million? Or if they reduce it to 10 or 11 million, are we still meeting the original intent of the obligation?
Well, there are two answers to that question, and I'll start with what you see in front of you. The only projection on this that is based upon the current corpus is that line that you see there, CPAP earning distributions, $450,000. And that's based upon 15 million, but it's a conservative amount. This, as you see, this current year, we have over $1 million. So we would have to adjust that number first of all, depending upon what the ending corpus would be. The second half of the answer to that question, though, is that as you remember, well, let me inform you if you aren't familiar with this. One of the preliminary report from the Appropriations Committee was to take $5 million from the corpus. It did not include what the governor had recommended, which was to supplant that with $600,000 in appropriation. And so one of the things that we are currently talking with the appropriations and other senators about is, if you take that $5 million, then that robs us a part of our budget for the coming year. And so you really need to supplant that with a percentage of that of those earnings. And if they take $5 million, that translates to approximately $320,000 that we would not be getting next year. And again, as you see, that's about what we give the BSG organizations. So yes, this does call for a percentage estimated upon the full 15 million. If that were to change, we'd have to refigure this. And then the other component to that is waiting to see what, if any, adjustments they make to our appropriation in connection to whatever they do to our cash fund. I hope that was as clear as it was in my head. I don't know how it came out.
Certainly.
Answer that okay, John?
Tim.
Tim, I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Tim.
All right, thank you for the question.
Okay, anything else, Jenna, on financials?
I don't believe so. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Jana.
thank you. Moving on to grants and artist programs. The first one are the Creative District grants, and Rachel is going to tell us about that. That's in tab 3 in your materials.
Yes. So the Creative District program, one of the great things about it is the development grant program. The districts can apply for up to $100,000 and they have 2 years to spend that. You'll see in the report, Sam, is it on the next slide as well? Thank you. The report that was in the packet, you will see who applied. The reviews were done all online this year. We hold them over the holidays, actually, and it works really well to do them online.
I'm sorry, can I stop you there? If you have the printed packet, what you're looking at in the printed packet is different than what you see on the screen. Since this report was printed, we got a report that said that we were going to be getting another $67,000 from our cash fund that comes through the SAFFA account. That gave us enough money to be able to grant another award. So there's an additional award on here for Nebraska City that isn't in the printed packet. So ignore that and look on the screen. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so these are the results, according to the panel. You will see that there are 2 that the panel did not recommend, which are at the bottom. There are 2 that are not recommended because they are low priority, and that is because they received funds last year. We tell districts that priority is given to those that have not received grants in this category in the past. And then we work backwards. So the ones who have got it the farthest amount of time, they come back up. So basically, if you got it last year, you go to the back of the line, is the way to think about it. So yes, we did include Nebraska City because they did score high enough and they were approved. And they have received a grant, but it was 2 years ago. So they can come back up.
Just real quickly, the other thing that's added down there at the bottom is for your information, $890,000 of these grant awards comes from that appropriation through program 327. The other 400,000, as I mentioned, comes from that cash fund. It's the turnback tax from the arenas around the state. And again, we were rather pleasantly surprised with an additional $67,000, which made this possible, and we decided that it was not a good idea to leave money sitting around in a cash fund. So we'll get it out where it's going to do some good.
And of those that are receiving money, how many of them are new this year?
All of them are new except Benson and Nebraska City. They are our only returners that are receiving funds. So otherwise, the rest of them are all new.
Which is
to getting
great.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, we're really excited
Right.
about that.
That they're all new. Any questions?
Is this up for publicity yet?
No, because it has not been voted on. So we're not telling anybody until it's official.
Okay.
Which means that right now we're gonna vote on it.
About 5 minutes from now.
Would you like to make the motion that we approve these? Clark, would you like to
I
make
so
that?
move.
Okay, thank you,
I second, Karen.
Karen. Okay. Are there any other questions before we vote? Okay, then let's take the vote.
Offshire,
Yes.
Cheek,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Dunning,
Yes.
Goranson,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Roush,
Yes.
Salerno,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Just check. Julie, are you there?
I believe she put in the chat that she was in a meeting.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next, the teaching artist roster. Jenna, that's yours.
Can
Yes.
I ask, how do you guys communicate those awards, by the way?
Individually with the districts, they will receive an official notification from our grants manager, letting them know. And then I believe we put out a press release. We did last year, so that'll be in the works as well.
And we'll send that to not only to the creative districts, but to the state senators thereof.
Yes.
Got it.
Good.
I'm in the middle of Dundee, so I'll be interested to see how I'm sure they'll be excited.
Great.
Okay, Jenna?
Okay, as far as the teaching artist roster grant program, we met on two different mornings because there were so many applicants. There were 13 applicants, and the reviewers were very thoughtful and excellent comments. And in the end, they approved 10 of the artists. And then 2 more with a little bit of provision as far as kind of honing into a specific area, because they had a lot of varied interests, and the panelists felt it would be good to kind of narrow that focus a little bit. And then there was one applicant that was not approved. Basically thought she was kind of in the corporate world and just thought maybe a little bit more experience in relating her expertise into the school genre. So that's kind of what happened in that grant program. And as you can see there is the new artist that have been approved to the roster.
Great. Any
And
questions?
pardon me, all of the explanations are very well done in your packet, so you can read about each one of them and also the reviewers and qualifications.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing double duty on 2 days.
Sure.
That's a lot of work. Then moving on to the teaching, or the touring rather, artist roster. Brenda?
Yes, we met on January 28th online, and there were 4 applicants, 3 wonderful panel members. Let's see, the Kenyantic Orchestra was first, and we did recommend them. And also Midnight Wanderers. Both of those, 2 of the 4 were recommended. Really great feedback from the 3 reviewers. They were quite a nice group. There were 2 that we did not they did not approve. One, No Better Cause, had I think the biggest trouble was the content was rather old. Nothing really fresh. Also their cost would limit their access. And in an a cappella group that was a little bit early in their career and needed a little bit more passion in their application. So it seemed like there was some good feedback both for the approved groups and some constructive feedback for those 2 that they did not approve of. But it was a nice morning talking about those groups. Afternoon, I guess.
Okay, any comments or questions?
Mike, it says somebody's mic. Oh, Julie's muted.
It's muted on our side, but she's unmuted.
Did we mute Julie? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Moving on then to individual artist fellowships. Megan?
Hey, go to the next slide when you're ready, Sam. Individual Artist Fellowships is a grant program that we host every year, but it transitions each year between 3 different disciplines. And so this year we were looking at performing artists throughout the state. And as the name implies, this is our chance to grant individual artists in the state for the work that they're doing. And we ask for out-of-state jurors to look at the artists so that we can help make sure that, for one thing, there's no one getting favorite attention, but also because we're able to get professionals in the field who are really good at looking at our artists. And so this year, this is the list of artists who were awarded, and as you can see, we have a nice mix from the 4 different disciplines within performing art. So we have filmmaking and screenwriting, music and sound, choreography, and then also theater and playwriting. And as you can see, also we have different funding levels. Those are all selected by the jurors, and you can see a full list of the recipients as well as a full list of the jurors and their artist bios in the packet. This is also not live or online yet, so no one necessarily knows this, but I'm really excited to start sharing this information soon. This was all voted on by NAC DC, so we don't have to do a vote here amongst this group. But just looking forward also, next year, we will be looking at literary artists and really just excited to be able to share some of our funding and support to individual artists in the state.
there any questions? And I can say too, some of the criteria that are really important to the jurors. I look for jurors in a span across the country, and obviously a juror in each of the disciplines that are within literary, performing arts, and visual arts. But the criteria is really based on the artwork, the excellence in their discipline, and their ability to think innovatively in their discipline, as well as their activity within their community and what they're doing in their arts form in the community, and what they hope to be doing with their fellowship year. So those are some of the main criteria that the jurors take into consideration while selecting the individual artist fellowships.
Okay, thank you. Looks exciting. They look like they're really going to be exciting people.
Yeah.
Okay, then moving on, then Mike, the grant change request for Humanities Nebraska.
Yeah, who's this coming in? Tim is coming back in? Yeah, if you would, Sam, the next slide. This is something that I've been holding off on doing for most of the year. As many of you know, Humanities Nebraska, well, all of the humanities councils across the country lost their federal funding this past year. Humanities Nebraska was in a little better position because they had the cultural endowment to help sustain them through this time, but it still was a bit of a hit. We have additional grant funds available to us this year. And so I have held back $10,000 to increase their cultural partnership by that amount. It's not a large amount. I feel comfortable doing it because of the excess that we have. More importantly, my secondary and actually primary purpose in doing this is that they receive their funds from the state through us. That appropriation hasn't changed over the last 10 years because our grant budget, what we receive, hasn't changed over the last 10 years. So I want to increase what we give them this year and then make that part of our request next year to sort of spur that appropriation increase. I've talked with Chris Summerick about this. I've told him that one, this was dependent upon y'all voting to approve this year, but that it was also dependent upon that continued increase would be dependent upon what the legislators did next year. But while we have the funds, while we can help, while they need the money, I thought this would be a good thing that we could do for them. So that's the purpose of this. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
And Mike, Zach here. One question I have is, so you kind of answered it already, but what led you to 10,000? Like, is it on the basis of our availability allowing as much as 10,000 but not more? Is it on the basis of their need that they can't have less than 10,000 to really to go with what you're thinking? Like, why this number? And maybe you've already answered that, so.
Yeah, basically, I felt comfortable giving this, and I felt that it was an amount that that would probably, if any, would sail with the legislature next year, that $10,000. If I can show them they got 209 rather than 199 this year, that might make it through, and that would help be able to get that increase for the coming years as well. Thanks for the question.
Any other questions? Okay, then we need to vote on that. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move.
Thank you,
So
Jean.
Second.
Okay, second. Thank you, Karen. Okay, Margaret?
Shire,
What point of order?
go ahead.
This is James. Hey, Ms. Jacobson's still on. I'm assuming she is. She said she, but so she's able to engage in the chat. I think we could at least record her vote in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Just watch the chat for Julie's voice. Oh, thank you, James.
Okay. All right. Well, Hofshire,
Yes.
Cheek,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Dunning,
Yes.
Goranson, Goranson,
She's saying the word, but her
yes, okay. Gross,
Yes.
Jacobson, if you could respond in the chat,
Yes.
please, Julie.
Hey, there we go.
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, now we can.
Glad to have you
Well,
with
you
us.
guys unmuted me. You guys unmuted me finally, so yes.
Jeffrey. Tim Jeffrey,
Oh, there we go. Yes, yes.
Coulterman,
Yes.
Roush,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, floating deadline report. Who is that?
Oh, that's just for informational purposes, so you can see all the grants that we've been doing. But we can jump to this. As you all know, we encourage and invite you to participate in the grant panels, and these are the dates of the ones that are coming up this spring. And the nice folks who have agreed to chair them. The annual series and events grants will be done online, and Crystal Dunning will chair, or I'm sorry, they will be done live this time. And Crystal Dunning has agreed to take those on. Thank you, Crystal. So if you are interested and available and want to participate by reviewing those grants, those are the dates that will be available. And then the Arts Project Grant, Jean has agreed to oversee those. And those are the dates for those. Sherry will do the basic support grants on May 19th. And the Arts Learning Grants that Clark Roush will chair later in that week. We will send around an email as a follow-up to this, but just so that you have those dates and can take a look and see which ones you'd like to. For the folks who are brand new, Tim, Lori, you are more than welcome and encouraged to sit in on one of them. We have folks audit the first time, which means you review the grants, but you don't have to participate in the scoring and such, or to take some of the pressure off. But you're welcome to audit the first time out. That's it.
Okay, then let's go on to reports and discussion items. The chair report, I just have a couple of quick things. I want to thank those of you who have made your contribution to NAC DC, and to remind those of you who haven't yet, to kind of gently remind you to please think about getting that in. I know if you're like me, I waited, even though we normally send out the ask letter in December, I had already contributed last year, so I waited till January to get mine in for my fiscal year. So some of you may be in the same position, but again, just a reminder to get that in for NAC DC. And a thank you to those who have already done it. If you did send in a contribution, would you please make sure that you've got a thank you response for that? And if you haven't, will you let Mike know? Because there's been some system changes and things, and we want to make sure that everything has gotten recorded and you've gotten acknowledged for what you've done. So thank you. And what it's worth to, what those donations go to are the things that they can't pay for out of the state budget. Like the receptions for the gallery thing, there's certain things you can't pay for, like wine. But also just recently Ann Alston retired, and paying for her retirement gift. Did you say you had a?
Yeah, Sam, if you could fast forward a few, there it is.
Okay, paying for her gift. She's been with the agency for 23 years, and I think we all know that working for a state agency, you don't make much money. And that kind of loyalty is really recommended. So that's one of the things that NAC DC pays for, is things like paying for parties like this, as well as for the gift that they gave to her, which was an artwork. So the money goes to good things. And please, if you haven't yet, do get your donation in. I'd like to also, yeah.
Sherry, is there somebody you can resend that around via electronically, just in case we lost or don't know what that information is.
Sure, I'll resend.
And Sherry, I had sent one in electronically and I don't think it ever either went through. I've been kind of watching for it. So do I just try her again?
We'll check on our end and
Okay.
get in touch with you directly. Thank you,
Thank you
Jay.
very much.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to also thank those of you who came down to Arts and Culture Day at the Capitol. It was great to have you in attendance. And also to thank you to those who have been supportive in contacting their senators. I know Lori Williams has been down at the Capitol several times over the past couple months. And but the others that, you know, making contacts with your senators, with appropriations people, it's really been important. When they announced at the appropriations committee the yes and no's, and it was something like they had a response of people who were on our side of like 800 responses and like 8 against. That does help make a difference. And so thank you for those of you who are doing it. Then just a comment that in June, which will be actually right after our June meeting, right, Mike? Or is it just before our June meeting? I guess it's just before the Mid-America Art Conference. It is going to be here in Omaha. And they'll be here June 3rd through the 5th. So we'll be hosting and we're working on it. They're working on it. It's being worked on. And we're hoping that they will be able to walk around downtown, at least some without barriers. We'll see. Any other comments you have on them?
No, except the barriers are back.
Yeah.
We had an empty road in front of our house, or in front of our business for 2 days, and then the barriers came back with a vengeance.
And our June meeting on June 9th will be in person here at the NAC office in Omaha. So start planning on that. And then you can see the dates for our future meetings. It's in person on the 2nd of September in Kearney. And then December is virtual again. And that's what I have.
Yeah.
So
And just as a reminder, the Kearney will be in conjunction with our Creative District Assembly and the State Arts Conference, which will be the next day on September 3rd.
And it'll be at the World Theater, not at the Event Center.
You're right. Thank you.
The Event Center is huge. We'll have a lot of them.
okay, then moving on to your report, Mike.
All right. Well, we can bypass this. It was a wonderful event. We're very sorry to see Ann go, but we have a new one to welcome. Our brand new business manager, Rachel Zell. And Rachel, would you take a moment to tell people about yourself?
Yeah, hi. So sorry to add another Rachel to everyone's plate. We've already had some email mix-up.
Numbers. It's great.
That's true. We're going stronger about every day. But I'm very excited to meet all of you. Yeah, as you can kind of see, I went to school here at UNO. I kind of moved around a little bit. I worked up in upstate New York for a little bit, had a good time there. I was an arts and crafts director for a summer camp, so I really enjoyed that. And that kind of got me a little bit more into more admin experience and also still in the arts world. I was the manager at the Nebraska Humane Society for Customer Service Department, which was a very fun job, but very tiring as well, a little bit tough. So I was happy to move on from that after a few years. And then I worked at the DMV for a few months before coming here, which was also so exciting, as you know about the DMV. Artistic background, I'm not like a pro or anything, but I love doing watercoloring. I loved doing paper making. I haven't done that for a while, but I would love to. I like doing digital and on paper collage. I've been with my partner for 4.5 years now. We live together in Benson. We've got 3 cute little kitties, and I love to travel. I'm very excited to be a part of this team, and everyone here has been so welcoming. All of our board members, you all seem so lovely. And I'm excited to help out with all of our future needs.
Yay. Yay, thank you, welcome.
Okay, next. Just real quickly, because Ann's retirement, because you lose somebody who's been with you 23 years, you look around and you say, well, how does that affect us? We are this spring going through some reorganizing of the staff. One of the primary changes is that if you remember the days, well, Sherry and I may be the only ones who remember. Back in the day, we had a director of programs and a director of administration. We sort of combined those two when I was the deputy. And we are going to be splitting those apart again. So we have Margaret Garrow is going to be heading up our director of administration. And we're going to have Rachel Morgan be the director of programs. Beyond that, the rest of it is we're working with HR to work as quickly as possible to replace Anne and to restructure the rest of it. But I think it will provide us make it really possible for us to address the needs of the state and of the field and the industry going forward, specifically the renewed interest in arts, health, and not renewed interest, the developing interest in arts, health, and wellness, so that we can focus some attention on that. So more about that as it all happens, but the key component right now is to get a replacement for Anne. Then Arts and Culture Day, if you want to go ahead, Sam, forward. The only thing I want to add to what's already been talked about is that we had a key component of that, which was the America 250 celebration at 9:30 on Wednesday. And as I mentioned before, Jewel recited her brand new poem, which is exciting. The Lieutenant Governor was there to welcome everybody and tell them about things. And we introduced some of the exhibits that we'll have for the I-80 sculpture project going forward. We'll be developing those even more in the coming spring as a means of making people aware of the 50th anniversary of that project. A couple of things that you see on the screen there. You see the models for the sculptures. The one on the right is the original model of a piece called Up Over that is in Ogallala, Nebraska. And the one on the left is one that the Johnny Carson
Center for Emerging Media
made for us based upon the photos of the piece that used to be in Sydney. That sculpture no longer exists, but they were able to resurrect it via what they had to go on. That's one of the things we'll be doing is developing the models for each of the sculptures so that the exhibits that will go to the different communities, the I-80 sculpture communities, will all include one of those models of the sculpture that resides in their community. So Sam, if you wouldn't mind going for, and stop me and ask me questions anywhere along the way, but the other part of what we talked about at that gathering was to sort of unveil everything that is on the calendar so far for this coming spring. A lot of this is not new to you all. We've been talking about it, but again, these are the artist talks that we have lined up for John Raimondi once he comes into town in late June, and the different gatherings at the Sheldon, Mona, Stir, Joslyn, and then on the July 4th, there'll be a gathering there at the dedication of arrival at the Blue River Rest area near Seward. And Clark, do you have just a moment to tell people what all happened that day?
Yes. First of all, I do want to thank the staff for hosting a table at the travel conference promoting the sculpture garden and the program as well. They were very successful and did get a lot of information out to the travel leaders in the state at the recent Nebraska Travel Conference sponsored by the State Travel Tourism Office. That was very successful. there are several dedications already planned and in the works, and hopefully rededications, and hopefully there'll be some other ones that we are working on as well. They just aren't quite as detailed yet. York has a full-scale dedication on the 3rd, rededication on the 3rd of their sculpture. And Seward's will be officially rededicated. Arrival will be rededicated on the 4th of July at 2 o'clock. Both Seward and York, I know, have received the mini grants from the designated mini grants for the project from the Nebraska Arts Council. It'll involve Jewel with her poetry at both. Also, John will be there at the rededication, and the governor is definitely committed to the one in Seward at 2 o'clock as well. There's also, John will also be speaking at the Civic Center that day, and Jewel will also be speaking at the Civic Center in a program on the 4th of July. The rededication will last about an hour, and it also includes music and a lot of the activities sort of reenacting, recreating the dedication from 50 years ago. And so, in fact, some of the people that were the leaders then will be back for it again for this rededication, which is sort of neat, and we're looking forward to that. Along with that, they have some wonderful programs lined up for all the sites with a special, like you said, the maquettes and the picture background. They have a background so you can it'll look like even if you're in downtown Seward, they're going to have this backdrop where you can look like you're at the arrival and get your picture taken. So that's going to be sort of fun as well. So they've got lots of things planned, and it looks like it's going to be a grand day.
Thank you very much, Clark. Yeah, there's an awful lot going on. One of the things I did mention that was at the Arts and Culture Day is that we've begun interviews of some of the folks that were involved in the project 50 years ago. And we had a little snippet, about a 30-second snippet of some of the interviews that have already been conducted. And Karen Harris, I talked with Matt Bross specifically to make sure that he gives you a call and does that interview with you as well. So expect that phone call if you haven't already gotten it, because I want your perspective as well.
Okay.
So that should be happening as well. And I can also report that one of the other things that is happening is they're working hard to get the sculpture project on the National Register, and it made it past the state and is now gone on to the federal folks. Or no, March 20th, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The presentation was made to the state. There was a little paperwork mess up, and so they'll vote on it at state level on the 20th of March. It's expected sale, so that the project will then go on to the national, and it's expected to make it through there too, so that it will be on the National Register by the time we do this summer. Okay.
The other nice thing is the maquettes will be a gift to the community for permanency, as well as the backdrop, which is going to be neat. It'll be able to travel throughout the community, maybe be at the hospital or the nursing homes or the senior center or the museums or wherever after the big 4th of July week.
A lot going on. We will all relax in August.
All right.
Thank you, Clark. Okay, next, Sam. Okay, legislative update. So some of this you've already heard. I'll be specific about some of the things, and actually I'll come back to the budget. Let me just jump to, as you heard, the LB 778, that funding for the creative districts that will be given priority to them in FY27 that Senator Duncan introduced. Is gone through. Actually, it needs to be updated. It's now passed the second select file, and so just has one more vote before it becomes law. And provided that there's some money in that cash fund, that will benefit the creative districts in FY27. I included the information here about LB 356 just to let you know that if you remember last year, they introduced legislation that would make it so that the appointments from the governor didn't have to go through the legislation. It didn't get a vote last year. It did make it, this year. We'll see if they reintroduce it next year, but just in case you were wondering about that. So now, as far as the budget is concerned, Sam, if you would then go to the next slide. I just wanted to give you a graphic depiction of what's happened so far and where we're headed. And the first column there, you see that in our budget request back in September, the only thing that we asked above what we had been asking before was an additional $1 million for the creative districts in our appropriation. And then you see also the cash funds and the CPEF. The governor in his recommendation recommended an appropriation increase that we mentioned before of $600,000, but that was to offset taking all the $15 million out of the CPEF fund that you see down at the bottom there, and that it would terminate the program. So this was not a good thing. He also recommended sweeping $27,000 from our 326 cash fund and sweeping $150,000 from our 1% for art maintenance fund. That fund is used to maintain the over 800 pieces that are currently in the state inventory. So that would be a horrendous thing as well. The appropriations in their preliminary budget did not include the $1 million for the creative districts. They did not include the $600,000. They reduced sweeping the cash fund from $150,000 to $100,000. They did not, in their preliminary budget, have taken anything from the CPEF trust. And because if you remember, they paused the transfers for 2 years, they included language in the bill that would add 2 years to that statute. So that was a good thing. That was their preliminary budget. Last week, they took a vote within the Appropriations Committee to, instead of sweeping the $15 million, they would only sweep $5 million. They would leave the program intact, but it would obviously diminish the program. It would break the promise of those $5 million worth of donations. And that is where we currently stand at this time. When that happened, Lori Williams and I and Maggie and Lance and Scott Williams and Justin, our lobbyist, and I'm probably missing somebody. We all went down and talked to some of the Appropriations Committee people. And at that time, it seemed really pretty positive that they would put the $5 million back in. Some things have happened since that time. If you've been watching the news, you saw that the appropriations people, in order to try to make that bridge that $470 million deficit, talked about taking $130 million from the reserves to ease that deficit. Almost in the same breath, the revenue forecast said that they would be shy of about $175 million, so that the offsetting would be we were back to square one. Because of that, we are still where we were with the potential of taking the $5 million. We are continuing to work informally with the appropriations folks, and they will finish their work this Friday. And so between now and then, we're having conversations with them. Their budget will go to the floor next Monday. And should the $5 million or whatever elements of it that we don't like still maintain in the budget, we will then work directly with the senators to try to have a floor vote that would be more in our favor. Obviously, we don't want it to get to that point. Floor votes are much more hard work. I will continue to keep everybody in the know as things develop, and let you know the best way to either work through us or directly, or with Lance's help with the Nebraskans for the Arts, to reach out to the senators and to make your thoughts known about our budget. I wish I had more definitive information for you. Right now, it is waiting to see what finally comes out of the Appropriations Committee. I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can. Just know that there are an awful lot of good people out there working to try to change this. And as I said, should it not turn out the way we want, come Monday, we'll get back in touch with everybody and ask you to shake the timbers, as it were. Okay?
Mike, I have a question. What
Yes.
seemed to change from that Monday meeting that seemed so positive to the Friday vote?
I would say primarily those changes to the budget outlook that I mentioned. I think that they are now scrambling to minimize that deficit in every way that they can. I think, you know, the latest I saw is that we may still have the neighborhood of about $125 million deficit when they're all said and done. But again, that they don't have to have that budget deficit taken care of this year. They have voted on that from last year, but it would get them closer for next year's biennial budget. So, but yeah, I would say that just the changes to the budget outlook that have happened in that time span. I'm being generous. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, thank you all.
You have a couple more things.
Oh, okay, Sam, let's move forward. Good news. As you know, last year's passport program included a special tour just of creative districts. This year instead, they have dedicated a whole page in their guide for the creative districts. And as you can see on the right-hand side of that 2-page article, that they have organized the creative districts into 6 districts around the state, which corresponds with the 6 Districts, 1 Nebraska program. And they have made the work of the creative districts core to what they're doing in their travel promotions. There will also be a special section on the I-80 sculpture project and how you can enjoy that and the communities around it. The I-80 sculpture project actually grew out of a tourism effort that Norman Gefsky and some wonderful people down in Lincoln developed, and it turned into that project that we know today. So to come back to that and make it an element of the tourism program, I think is coming full circle and is one of, I think, the real big benefits of all the work that Megan is putting in on the I-80 sculpture program to help make all that happen is, one, the great relationship that we have developed with the Department of Transportation, with the folks that Visit Nebraska, with the Department of Economic Development. All of those things I think will bear fruit over the years to come, as you can see from what lays in front of you. I think all of this is going to be quite beneficial for us and for the arts and for the communities that celebrate that. One of the final things about the I-80 project is that, as we've mentioned before, we are expanding the celebration of the sculptures in those 7 communities to celebrating public art and sculptures across the state, the entire 500-mile sculpture garden that is Nebraska. And from Omaha to Lincoln, all the way out to our friends in Gering who have a sculpture garden there at the Civic Center out there. So more about that as it comes out, but just one of the good things that's come about all this. Do I have anything else to say?
They just announced the 70 stops for the passport yesterday. So that's out now too.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay.
Statewide Arts Conference, you've already mentioned, or do you want to mention it again?
Just a reminder that the Statewide Arts Conference will be coming up in September, and that next week we will actually be sitting down as a staff and talking about what all we want to accomplish through that and what content there might be. If you have any thoughts or questions or concerns, reach out to me and I'd be glad to talk to you about what we're currently thinking about. But if you have ideas and things like that, we always love to get input from you guys. That's the benefit of having you. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to program reports. Poetry Out Loud. Josh?
You got it. This year we've got a little bit of a different year. This year follows the 20th anniversary of Poetry Out Loud, and we have another special one because of America 250. So this year, students selected from all American poets to recite at the competition on Sunday. So we'll see a lot of things that we all probably read in school too. This year we've got 9 competitors from all over the state. As usual, it's a real geographic mix of folks, which is wonderful when we have everybody from all across the state. We do have some new schools this year. South Sioux City is joining us. We've got Brownell Talbot from Omaha. A lot of other stalwart competitors are on the field this time around as well. We had our biggest year of POL since the pandemic, where we really lost a lot of folks. We had 16 people make it to state qualifiers, and 9 of those will go on to state finals this weekend. Looking forward to it very much. The winner from that competition will go forward to the national finals in Washington, D.C. to compete against all other 55 programs from the United States and its territories.
Thank you, Josh.
Okay, then moving on to creative districts. Rachel?
Yeah, so I just wanted to give some updates. We are up to 37 creative districts now that are certified. Next slide. And we are still getting in letters of interest and having communities and potential districts moving through the process. I was just at the League of Nebraska Municipalities conference last week talking about the program. And there are still communities that are interested in joining. So it is still growing. We're still moving.
I don't know if Jewel is still on, but Jewel was sitting in on the meeting at 24th and Lake, and we anticipate their letter of interest any day.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah, we should be saying that. And Jewel was actually at the conference and she presented her poem during lunch, which was great. Next slide. So I just wanted to give a few updates. Gordon is our newest district. Thank you to Jana for all of the work that I know happened behind the scenes. So we are happy to welcome them. In December, we helped some people from BSGs and the creative districts attend a board training. We felt it was really important. One of the things that we're seeing as districts create these leadership structures is providing training for that. And so we helped some of them go to some trainings and we offered it to the BSG organizations as well. December probably isn't the best time to hold trainings, but that's okay. We do what we can, right? But that was through NAM Nonprofit Association. As Clark said earlier, Megan and I were able to attend the tourism conference. We answered a lot of questions about the IAD Sculpture Garden and also creative districts. It was a very good conference and I feel like it was really worth our time and the conversations that we had. Just some things coming up. Very excited to Lisa on our staff who did an amazing amount of work on a data report that we share with our legislators. She has actually been asked to speak at UNO at an event regarding that data report. So it's really exciting to see that being highlighted and used in other areas. And then there is a conference called Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities that's ran through UNL in April, and we're going to be doing a couple of sessions around creative districts, engaging artists and creative in your communities. Next slide. And I really wanted to give a shout out and a spotlight to Fremont while I was at the league conference last week. The lady that I work with, she came up to me and she started going on about all of the great things that are happening in their community and in their creative district because of the creative district program. How this kind of kicked off this amazing work that's happening. And I said, can you send that in an email? And so I just wanted to share with you. It really started with this amphitheater project that they wanted to do in their park as a way of bringing the community together and having this public space where anyone can come and be together. And it's turned into an over $2 million project because of the creative districts and because of the community saying, this is what we want to see happen. They will be having an event in June to kick off their sculpture walk and the opening of this amphitheater, which is really exciting to see. And they've been able to leverage this into other grant funds. And so they've received a $25,000 grant from tourism from Visit Nebraska. And they're working towards, it's not confirmed yet, but they're working towards getting 2.8 million for their downtown area in federal funds. And so it was just really exciting to see this all happen because of the process that they went through to be a creative district. And so I just had to share that with you.
Great. Very nice. Anything else?
No, that is it.
All right, any questions? Okay, then let's move on back to Josh and talk about,
This is for Talisa.
Oh, is Talisa on?
Yeah, Talisa, are you there to talk about
Yep.
posters?
Yep, I am right here. We are in year 3 of the Creative Districts of Nebraska series. And as a reminder, or new to those who have not heard about this before, it is a collaboration between the Nebraska Journalism Trust and Flatwater Free Press and us and the creative districts. And every year we select 4 districts, 3 to 4 districts to create and they then suggest a few artists from their community to create a poster about their community. A panel process is done. We do a request for proposals, or request for qualifications, beg my pardon. And then we review all of that and pick an artist. And last year, though, the Nebraska Journalism Trust asked if we could also include 2 artists that are kind of considered at-large statewide artists that are not tied to a creative district. And so this is our 2nd year of doing that. So this year we have posters from Alliance, Dundee, and Omaha, Grand Island, and Kearney. And then our at-large Nebraska statewide artists are Jenny Homan out of Kearney and Karen Kuntz out of Lincoln. I am so proud of where we're at right now. Some of these are still not fully complete yet, but they will be available to purchase. I should state this too. These are made to be a fundraiser for the Nebraska Journalism Trust, their spring fundraiser. But about a month and a half after that, they will become available for purchase. The creative district posters can be purchased from each district, and then the at-large artists' images can be purchased from the Nebraska Arts Council. I think the statewide posters this year are going to sell out. So really look at those, and if you want some, let us know and we'll go from there. But if there's any questions on these, please let us know. Actually, I think they're also up in Rachel's office, and where else? I haven't been in the office for a while, so they're in the office someplace. So take a look, and if you're interested, please ask if you would like to purchase any of them.
I think they're in the boardroom too, aren't they?
They were.
I think I don't know where they're at. They were moved or they're somewhere, but they look great. So take a look. Margaret has one behind her head.
Well, I'm new to all this. I'm just totally new to all this. And these are just absolutely gorgeous. Wow.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. We all do, because it's been a process for sure. So I think, and we're hoping to do this again next year. And I think the districts take great pride in them, and it's been a really fun process to go through that with them and the artists and the NAC staff as well.
Great. Okay, thank you. Now, can we, okay, Josh, Arts Access?
No, I'm sorry. Megan's got,
Oh, okay.
are we out of order?
Well, it doesn't matter.
It's my
You
fault.
changed. No,
I'm
it's
to
okay.
blame.
Megan? Josh, I'm sorry.
It's suspense.
Saving the best for last. Okay.
Okay, well, this is an update about our 1% for Art program. And while we do have many new projects underway and nearing readiness for installation, so June meeting, be excited to see some brand new artwork. For now, we get to look at this brand new artwork as of January. This was installed at the Eastern Nebraska Veterans Home, which is located in Bellevue. And we went through our regular selection process. If you have any questions about that, I can definitely walk through that with you. But we ended up selecting Richard Harrison. And if you know Richard Harrison, he is the owner and the manager of Midsummer Mural Project, which is also responsible for many of the murals in South Omaha. And one of the things that he does, and one of the reasons why the selection committee decided to go with him, is because he does a lot of interaction with the people who are going to be a part of the mural or like enjoying the mural on a regular basis. So he and his team of artists did a lot of one-on-one meetings and group meetings with the veterans who live at Eastern Nebraska Veterans Home. And as you can see in these different pictures, and these different murals, he really used their input to devise the imagery and what was included in the murals. So while the budget for this was relatively low in comparison to other 1% projects, he still made 3 murals, and and he was able to work with a lot of local artists and all of the veterans. And so you can see in one of the murals, he really wanted to focus on like the everyday life of veterans, and it's not just all about military and like, you know, warfare and all of those sorts of things, but like going to games and playing cards and being with family. And so that was really important to the people that live there. And it also does have to do with those military specific items. So there's a mural dedicated to that. And then it's also about honoring veterans and what they've done for the country. So it's kind of a 3-part mural over at the Eastern Nebraska Veterans Home, and everyone there is really happy to have these and was really integrated into the process of making them. So I think it was a really successful project.
Are they all indoor, inside?
Yes, Clark, thank you. These are all indoor murals in their new wing at the Eastern Nebraska Veterans Home.
And is that the one in Bellevue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's located in Bellevue.
Yeah, okay.
He also did the mural at the Veterans Home in Kearney too, the Central Nebraska Veterans Home. So it might seem a little familiar as far as his style.
The ribbons are very familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So teaming with this.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Anything else? That's it?
That's it for me for now.
Now, Josh.
All right.
How about Arts Access?
Before I launch on my ACON report, I just since Richard came up, the VFW in Gretna near Ashland is looking at having Richard come and do a mural on their facility. So there's been kind of and I've got a meeting coming up with Vincent, who's kind of looking at some of the same sorts of things their VFW posts. So Richard might be busy doing things for our military community in Nebraska, but ACON is next. The second meeting of ACON was a really wonderful success. We had representatives from arts organizations, mostly in all in Eastern Nebraska. But Live Yes Studios, Anastasis Theater, Omaha Performing Arts, and White Arts all shared about the things that they've done. Programming centered around people with disabilities. They shared that with the 30 or so attendees that we had. In addition to the 30 folks that were at this last meeting, we've got 65 members of our ACON group. And just as a reminder, that's a group that brings folks together quarterly to talk about the programming that they're doing around arts and disability. And that includes disability-centered organizations and arts-centered organizations. It's a nice chance for everyone to get to talk to one another and say, oh, I work with this artist on that, and that artist with this. And a chance to put our heads together in this peer group. The Disability Celebration Advocacy Day is March 24th at the Nebraska Capitol, and Wendy Anderson from Common Coalition Advocacy Group was with us at that second meeting to talk about it. So if you have interest in this topic, join us on the 24th of March. We will be out at the Capitol.
Thank you. I'll remind everybody why this is so important is because this year we have to study what the needs are in terms of arts, health, wellness, working with isolated communities, all those elements that the NEA gave us some extra dollars to be able to research during this time period. And so to be able to bring together people who have an interest in those areas to help advise us on what's needed and how we can help. But more importantly, the other thing that we continue to work on as an agency is that we're terribly overstrapped already with the amount of work that the small staff does. So the other important component of this is to work with folks who do these things and do them well, to try to find partners that we can work with to carry on the work in those areas. So to constantly be researching what's out there, but also who is working in those fields already so that we can maximize our time and theirs to be able to get done what needs to get done. So Josh's work in that field has been instrumental. Jennifer Drybelbis and the work that she's been doing with research and data collection and that sort of thing has all been very instrumental. And we'll be spending this summer looking at what all needs to be done and how we and other people can help do it.
Great. Questions? Okay, any other things from the staff then?
You know, I just wanted to mention something because I should have mentioned it during my report. And that was that it was alluded to our hearing that we had in front of the Appropriations Committee and the response that we had for it and all that. I wanted to give a shout out to James Wright, who showed up for that hearing and really was eloquent in his defense of the CPEF and his support of the Arts Council. And James, if you're still on, I want to thank you for everything that you said. It carried a lot of sway with the committee and was really appreciated by all the folks that were there. So thank you very much. And everybody who's put a pen or a phone to their ear or any of those things in this difficult year, it's all much appreciated and we're not done yet. So
exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other business that anyone wants to bring up? Okay, then we're going to adjourn, and everybody notice this is early for Jane. Yes, and for all those times that we go over this, this is monumental. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Julie.
Thank you,
Second,
Julie.
John.
Thank you, John. All right, Margaret, are you still on? I don't know if she is or not. You want to do
Can
it?
you hear me? I'm sorry. Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
there you go.
Hofshire,
Yes.
Cheek. Cheek.
Zach Cheek.
Yeah, that's right. He had to leave at 3:45, so he's gone.
Davis,
Yes.
Dunning,
Yes.
Goranson,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Coulterman, Coulterman. Is he not on there? Roush,
Yes.
Salerno.
Jacobson is on. You missed my name.
Oh, Jacobson,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Wright.
He's gone.
No, he's gone as well. All right.
All right, everybody, thank you very, very much for your attentiveness and all your good comments. Hope the rest of your week is good and the weather stays nice. Thank
Who
you.
do we tell if we want some of those posters?